John Preacher also launched the Legal 500 directories.
He saw the same opportunity.
Who was the first? Just, I'm curious.
He started his research before I started.
Okay, I see.
About 3 months earlier.
Okay.
But they were almost the same time.
Same time. Do you think there are main difference between Legal 500 chambers?
There was always an enormous difference between the two. And the big difference was that we emphasized the research much more. Okay. They did some research, but we did masses of research. We ended up with something like 100 and something researchers. You remember?
Yeah.
Huge number of researchers. And the research was always the very basis of the books. And the value of these books depends on research, because if you don't have research, what are the rankings based on?
Exactly.
There's a fundamental conflict in these books, which is the interesting thing about them. And that is that you are ranking the very people who pay the bill. And there's an inherent contradiction there that can undermine every guide. Guide to restaurants, guide to anything. If the restaurants are paying the publisher to produce the guide to restaurants, who does the publisher listen to? The restaurants or the people who use them?
Exactly.
Do they ask the people who use the restaurant, is it a good restaurant? Or do they ask the restaurant themselves?
Exactly.
So we made a point of emphasizing our research as research of the clients, talking to the clients to find out who they valued and why.
Yes, because I found out that many lawyers, especially in Europe, they think, what you just say, that if you pay, you get the ranking, you know?
Well, that's as you know, it's called pay to play. And that's the American tradition.
Exactly.
And the Americans can't understand anything else. And when we took the books to America, covered America, they assumed that if they took a profile, we would give them a good ranking. And if we didn't give them a good ranking, they'd ask for their money back. They would think they'd been deceived. And we had to explain to them that the rankings are based on the research, and that's how it works. They couldn't understand it. And the problem we had in the business was that we had to control our sales team who were selling the profiles and stop them saying that if they took a profile, they would have a word with the editor and make sure they got a decent ranking. So we had to stamp on that.
Okay,
and I was very tough. I remember in my first year producing the directory, some of the researchers, some lads who were very keen on football, and a law firm sent them some tickets to the cup final. And I said to them, no, you've got to send the tickets back. And they came to me and they said, oh, but can't we just go? I said, no, that's just not right.